There's one thing I want you to do for me.
What?
Come here.
What?
Win. Win.
What are we waiting for? Take this!
What is up, EOP sports fans? It's Wednesday night. It's 8:30. It's time for EOP. I'm Big Al.
And of course, Joey Shear.
Of course he is. And guys, we have a ton of sports to cover. I know the Flyers are on. Sit back, relax, mute them, put us on, talk with us. We got a lot of Philly sports, 4 for 4, and so much more to cover. And then after we're done, you actually get to join Matty B for a little post-game action with Clear the Ice. So we'll talk about, you can follow that right up after us at EOP here. But there's a lot of news that happened,
dude,
since the last time we talked. Like I'm sitting here taking my notes, like doing the whole shaking the hand, like, all right, man, I gotta stop doing it the Ray Diddy way and start typing some of these things out. But I'm just sitting there going, like, it is amazing all the things that have dropped. And do you want, not even since the last time we talked, since Sunday.
Yeah.
Really, since Sunday is where it all went down. And let's start with the big news from the Citizens Bank Park and start with the Phillies signing the big fish that I'm not sitting there saying I've been calling it, but it happened a lot faster than anybody. And not that it was a big stretch.
Hold on.
I know it's not a big stretch of the imagination.
If you can claim that you call this, so can everybody else. Okay?
Oh, I know. Like I pretty much said, like, I'm not a stretch of the imagination, but I've been doing this with the fighting finals with Matty B, and I could say as early as June I've been saying it.
You know who can not say that? Me.
Yes.
Because I was so wrong last week on Twitter when I went on there and I said, anybody who thinks that Trea Turner will be the first of the big four, quote unquote, elite shortstops to sign, you are absolutely insane. Apparently, I am the insane one. He was the first one to sign. I thought he was going to make the market, and I am here to eat crow, but I could not be happier doing so.
But I was going to say, like, that's my point. Like, it's those things I don't care about being wrong.
Or exactly. Come on.
Like I said, like I go to the Jalen Hurts situation.
I'm not like that. This isn't one of those I told you so situations. Like, I legit thought he was going to be the last one to sign.
We all listen. It makes sense because it usually happens that way. They usually, they get the guy tries to like let everybody else set the market.
Yeah.
So it wasn't a stretch of the imagination. I don't think anybody disagreed with you. I like how we get hate online when people are like, "Oh, you should take this down." Why should I take it down? It's not a crazy take. It was a wrong take.
It was wrong.
It's just not.
You know what I even did? I went back. I went up and I edited the post with an update saying I was 100% wrong. I have no problem with people calling me out on it. I was wrong. It's okay to be wrong sometimes.
But as we know, he said former national and former Bryce Harper friend and colleague.
I'm sure they were still friends.
Yeah, I'm just saying,
former friends.
But actually, one of the reasons is because both wives are good friends, and that's kind of the reasoning him coming here with bullshit or whatever. We'll get to them in a minute why they're here. Shortstop Trea Turner of the Dodgers last year, like I said, former national, is now a Philadelphia Philly. And like I said, I know some people are afraid it would be too much, but 11 years, $300 million, Joe, $27-ish million.
Yeah.
I mean,
perfect.
He's making a little bit more than, Bryce Harper, but he'll be kind of just done about the same time as Bryce Harper. But Joe, looking forward at this, we have a solid core for at least the next 5 years.
Oh, there's no doubt about it. And one of the things I was saying about Trea Turner and the money he was going to get is I was worried he was going to be mid-30s. I'm sure a lot of people did too. And a lot of people would have been completely fine paying that. I said, and this was just me, I was comfortable right around this number. Absolutely. Because I looked at it this way. They declined the option on Gene Segura, which was $18 million. So all they did was add another $9 million onto that. And they signed Trea Turner for 11 years. So, I mean, that is why it's such a, out of the park Dombrowski home run here. I mean, come on.
Out of the park. And apparently the Padres, once again, going up against the Phillies,
That's
Try,
what's in.
yeah, that's what's in. Like, I gotta cut that out. That's a good idea. I gotta add that to my clips. But trying to once again outduel the Phillies, lost.
Yes.
Apparently left $42 million on there, but there's
Correct.
a bit of a caveat with that $40 million.
One of the things I did hear was if he would have stayed in California, he actually would have had to pay about $44 million in taxes.
Yes.
So he would have actually been,
Making the same
giving
money.
200 million more up,
Yeah.
and it was a no-brainer. I mean,
Yeah.
he got the money he wanted, the years he wanted, and the coach that he wanted,
And
the team that he wanted.
And it's funny because you make the joke, that's what's up.
Yeah.
Tell me that doesn't turn you off. Like I said, this team, this fan base sold this postseason.
Sure.
Like, what a tour we went on.
Yeah.
Like we were setting decibel levels miles away from the stadium.
People setting off smartwatches. Like,
Yeah.
that's pretty cool.
Yeah, like we were rabid, but in a good way, nothing
Mhm.
crazy. Selling out the stadium every night, being loud as loud can be, being an effective part of the game for the most part.
Oh, absolutely.
So, and then you get that's what's up.
That's what's in.
Oh, that's what's in. I'm sorry. That's what's in. Yeah, it's a no-brainer there. Like,
yeah.
I mean, Philly is. We might be on that 2007 to 2011, hopefully longer run.
Sure.
But of just Philly might be a baseball town again.
Well, yeah, and that to what you're talking about, this is one of the things I need to bring up is Philadelphia absolutely has become a destination. And it doesn't matter what sport it is, but if you're just talking about the Phillies, you look at Bryce Harper. Bryce Harper chose Philadelphia. Nick Castellanos chose Philadelphia. Kyle Schwarber chose Philadelphia. Trey Turner now chose Philadelphia. That says a lot.
Yeah,
it really does.
I think it says a lot about them. The combination. I'm not taking anything away from them, and I keep forgetting. He's baseball operations. There is a general manager who gets no love.
It's true,
but I think he's okay with it.
He better be.
Yeah, well, here's my thing: is like as long as they're doing good, he's going to get credit for it.
Oh, absolutely.
It's like you could just sit. It's like being Andy Reid's offensive coordinator. You really don't have to do much, but enjoy it. Enjoy the ride.
Right.
But he and when I say he,
I'm sorry, and JT chose Philadelphia to re-sign here. I mean, my God, look at those 5 names right there.
Not looking at pitching because pitching can change a lot. And,
sure,
over the years. But I mean, your core guys are here for a while. You're Harper, you're Muto,
yeah.
You're like you said, all those guys you named. So you got like 60 or 9 guys on the field locked in. And here's my thing is.
Talented guys,
and you still have other young guys like your Bryson Stotts of the world.
Absolutely.
By the way, I want to announce something. We have a new graphic designer here at EOP. One Bryson Stott, just doing such an amazing job.
What a bang-up job that is.
and speaking of 2 young guys, and Bohm and Stott right there are going to be probably core pieces going forward, making this the ability to pay $27 million a year to a guy like Trey Turner viable. Because you know what? If Bohm wants big money and we can't afford him, and kind of be like a Jason Worth situation, you let him go, and hopefully you're moving things on with other younger guys because they are stock in the pond. So, that was one thing we were worried about. But real quick, guys, there are going to be plenty of Phillies games you're going to want to go to, right? Mm-hmm. Eagles games, of course, theater, concert, sports, doesn't matter. Sherry's Ticket Town. Go to sherrystickets.com. Family owned and operated since 1946. And the price you see, Joe, is the price we get. Like, there's no like checking out, surprise, $150. No, you don't get that. The price you see is the price you get. And guess what? For 10% off, just type in EOP10. That's it. EOP10 saves you 10% at sherrystickets.com. Dolan's Bar, the Most Delco Bar, 24 East Sellers Avenue, right in Ridley Park, 19078. Still has a great Christmas lineup. Joe, Ziggy the Moondogs were there last week, and I know you.
Familiar to me. Yeah, absolutely.
Familiar to you. So if you missed that, don't worry. This is a sight to be seen, Joe. I've witnessed this. The Christmas Tabernacle Choir with Jay Whaley. This has been going on for a few years now. Dirty Christmas carols, man. It is hilarious. People bringing family from in and outside of town. Great time. It is like a Dolan staple, and it is a great time. And guys, Dolan is a great place to catch your sports. Eagles games, $8 cheesesteaks / wing cheesesteaks, memorabilia giveaways. You never know. Hollis Thomas might be there. You never know. Just former athletes all the time. Guys, if you want to go experience a game with friends, with a group of great Philly fans, bus trips, away trips for the Eagles, for Phillies, Sixers, and Union. I mean, they're an official Union trip, and now they do Italian trips, like just getaways. And you gotta love it. PhillySportsTrips.com. Check it out. The last one I think left is Dallas, so check that one out if you still can. That's the Christmas Eve game. Plus, all the home games have the tailgates. But like I said, you're like, what do I get my favorite sports fan for Christmas? How about a bus trip to watch the Sixers take on the Nets in Brooklyn, or a Phillies bus trip to Yankee Stadium again? You could do that, and it's affordable. And you go to PhillySportsTrips.com to do that. So, guys, check it out, and tell them EOP sent you. But I want to touch on something here about Trea Turner. And a lot of times when you sign big ticket names, Joe, a little bit of nervousness coming to, like, he's 30 years old.
Sure.
I mean, he's not like he's 25 and you're going to get him until he's 37 or something. You know, you're going to have him at 41, knowing that probably the last couple of years he's going to get paid to do nothing.
Oh yeah.
I
don't see Bryce really doing the whole 13. I don't see Trea doing the 11.
It's a smarter version.
There's going to be years that we have to eat on these contracts.
Yeah,
sure.
But it's also the smarter version of the Bobby Bonilla thing. Like, you're stretching it out over such a long period of time. You're making it affordable.
The Bobby Bonilla thing was like 1.5 every like June or July 1st, whatever it was.
You know,
and
that passes Bryce Harper, right? It might end the same time as Trea Turner.
The price difference is pretty off though.
But that was also how many years ago?
No, it's
so
true.
if you took an inflation calculator, I would like to see how different it really is.
Wow. I didn't even think of that.
Well, my point is, like, that's how you make a $300 million contract or plus, contract affordable.
Right.
You stretch it over years, knowing that the last few years, and that way you're not hindering a certain year with 50 million, 50 million, 50 million, and then you're paying them. Like, look at what we did with the big piece with Ryan Howard.
Right.
He was making what, $50 million a year, or like no,
I think his last year was like 24, 25. Yeah.
25 a year, and you had a guy kind of at that point was not playing well at all.
Oh yeah.
So let's hit some of these questions here. Anthony, players see Philly fans are loyal and crazy too. That's true. Like that.
Beautiful.
I think it's a draw. I think it's a big draw. We said when you win in this town, you're a god. You know, there's certain people who'll never buy a beer again in this town. That can never do wrong. You can set fire to a hospital, and people they'll forgive you. Who's next for the Phillies? That is a great question, Palataro. Like, that is a great question. Go Birds! And what's up, Pat?
What up, dude?
He's such a knucklehead. I love him. He's a knucklehead.
I don't even know what the hell.
Yeah. We move on from it. Don't give it time. That's what me and Mike Laro have figured out on Sunday morning. Just pass by it. But I was doing some number crunching, as I do, and I looked at last year's numbers, so when he was with the Dodgers, and his career overall numbers, and did a little comparison. His power is upticking.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a big thing here going into the. I mean, I think it's growing smarter and better baseball IQ every year from being really young and moving on, and maturing, that kind of thing. But he had 21 home runs, which was the most he had in a single season in his career, which is 17% of his entire career home runs. He's had 124 altogether. 100 ribbies last year, which is the most.
That's what you need.
Yeah, that's
what we're banking on.
That is the most in a single season in his career.
Okay.
That's 23% of his RBIs in one season. And then he had 17% of his runs last year was 101 runs. So that's most in a single season for him. So my point is he's getting better. His average last year was 298. Wasn't his highest average, but his career average is 302. So he's right there.
I mean, yeah, come on.
Yeah.
We're not splitting hairs with the difference between a 298 and a 302. I mean, come on. If you want to average it out, it's 300. There you go.
Anthony, how much does the Phillies have on the salary cap now? They still have fairly a good enough room. I mean,
I don't.
It's different.
Here's the weird thing. I get a lot of my information. I look at Twitter, and then I go and I research, and I do my DD, as they say, due diligence. And it seems as if the Phillies are over the luxury tax at this point right now. But then I think there's like a second installment for the luxury tax.
It does change.
It changes. So I think they're over right now. But once it changes, once it balances out, I think they have like 15 million left. And let's not forget, they can trade. Like, I don't care what Dombrowski said. I can see a Rhys Hoskins trade coming. I don't think they're done with the pitching.
Now, I don't know if this is up to date. I'm looking at Sports Track where I do a lot of the contracts and things like that. I'm trying to see if I don't see Trea on here yet.
Okay.
So I can't really give you. I mean, there's a lot of pre-arbitration guys that will never see the light of day or we ever even heard of. See, Matthew Strom's on here. That's what I'm trying to figure out. Oh, here's Trea. So Trea is on here. So they say the active base payroll for 2023 is 131 million with adjustments. It's 132.6. They have different arbitration. So projected payroll is 166 million right now.
Okay.
So the competitive balance tax threshold is 233. Active payroll is 185. So that leaves them. That's going to leave them with a few million shillings to go with. So I don't know if you're going to see another big signing unless they move on from some guys or trade or something.
Mm-hmm.
But there's a lot of arbitration money in there. So I'm just kind of breaking this down quickly from what I see, because the minor league contracts do kind of come into competitive balance and all that stuff. So it's a little outside of my league where I would be a GM right now. So
I think once
that
all is said and done, I think they still have about $15 million that they can spend. But here's the thing. Outside of pitching, you don't have to spend money anywhere else. You have your outfield set.
Yeah.
You have your infield set. You have the best catcher in baseball. And right now, all you're doing, you have 4 out of 5 pieces to your rotation.
And don't forget, you got guys like Amunda Sosa.
Taijuan Walker. First off, it's funny. Like, we know how much I put out on social media, and it's usually the night before where I'll make a list of things I want to do for the next day. And I had 2 posts on Walker for today. And I'm like, God damn it, they signed him too quickly. I had stuff to do.
But since, like you said, Taijuan Walker signs with the Phillies. Former Met, by the way, took one from the division. It looks like there's going to be a lot of back and forth between these divisional teams like that. He, once again, did some number crunching on him. He's pretty consistent, 3.49 ERA. Where do you see him at, Joe?
I see him as, all right. Well, here, do you consider Ranger Suarez a 3 or a 4?
As of right now?
Right.
3.
I consider him a 3 myself.
Yeah.
So that would move Walker to the 4 position.
Okay.
I think him going up against any other team's number 4, it's lights out. Okay. I really do.
And then, so do you think
he went 12-5 last year? He had a really good season.
So who do you have as your 5 at this point? Your 5th? Is it?
Don't know.
Does what's his face?
I'm not opposed to bringing back Syndergaard.
Well, and that could still happen. I think he was going out to test the waters and finding out that pretty quickly. I mean, I'm trying to think who was the other guy that they tried once in the postseason and just completely got shellacked. But
Falter.
Like, do you give Falter? I guess he gets a chance in spring.
I don't see why not. Yeah,
like keep him young, and I guess maybe
Painter? Andrew Painter. They could bring him up.
I still think that's a tight.
Well, he's in Double-A. I mean, there's no way they're going to fast track him through Triple-A to get him up here. I mean, maybe he can possibly start or at least be on the roster the first week of the season, when they have their extended rosters. And then, of course, you can bring him up in September if he's not up before that. I don't know, though. I mean, number 5, I think, is still a question mark. I don't think that that's as big of a question mark as you have to get some other pieces in the bullpen. And I think Alvarado will be back. Of course, Sir Anthony. Knable will be gone, obviously. I think David Robertson will be gone. And what you hear is that the Matt Strom signing is basically to replace Brad Hand. I can't talk tonight. And 7.5, like, they must really like Matt Strom.
Yeah.
For 7.5 per year. Over Brad Hand, who was getting 300 a season.
I think that number's a little
just for last season.
I think that number's inflated because it's 2 years.
Well, yeah, it's 15, but it's 7.5 each.
But I'm saying, I think if he would probably wanted more years.
Possible, yeah.
I think he wanted more years, and they probably came with a deal. We'll pay you a little more. Give you for 2 years. That way, they're not hamstrung by him.
I would have rather them give him a 3rd-year like vesting or club option, and make that maybe 5 or 6 million.
Does a club option really help them?
Yeah, probably not.
I would think it would have to be a player option for that to be reasonable. Like,
yeah, even if that's the point. Yeah.
Like, if he's going to take less a year, like maybe to 5,
right,
to get down to 5, he was like there to be a third-year player option.
Yeah, and I don't think Dombrowski would have made that move with that type of money if he thought that it was going to strap him for another signing or two.
Yeah, and here I'm looking at this. So I think guys are back in the bullpen, and this guy's making less than $1 million a year. Sam Coonrod, you might see him back there. Jose, of course, Sir Anthony, of course. Not a pitcher, but Edmundo Sosa. I think you're going to see a very big bench roll out of him. Andrew Bellotti, what do you think about him?
He stepped up in the playoffs. He pitched really well.
We all know Alec Boehm, Connor Brogdon. I mean, he's still there. He's in pre-arb right now.
Okay. Well, I think Alvarez is arbitration as well.
Yeah. Bailey Falter.
So he'll get a tick.
Bailey Falter. How about Dalton Guthrie? They just keep him as a bench, please? Or
I guess. I mean, they really he was very, very fast. He had his moments, but I mean, I look at him as like a Nick Maton. Like it's here or there. Like it doesn't really make much of a difference. I hate to say it about those guys.
Derek Hall. I wonder.
He's up with the club.
Yeah, and he might be like maybe if he does well, maybe Reese Hoskins is trade.
I wonder if they use him. Maybe they use Derek Hall as a trade piece.
Possibly. I mean, it depends on how they feel about.
I don't think that they sign another starting pitcher. I think they trade for one.
That's fair. That's fair.
Just somebody you're not going to have to shout out the big bucks to. Somebody who's already under contract for something they feel comfortable paying.
Marchand's still down there. They still love him.
Who?
Rafael Marchand.
Oh, yeah.
Catcher. Brandon Marsh, Nick Maton. A couple guys I've never even heard of. Nick Nelson.
I'm rubbing off on you.
Yeah, I know.
Can't talk.
I think Nick Nelson makes, maybe a
long
reliever
type. A good spot in the playoffs as well.
Christopher Sanchez, a guy that kind of keeps popping up and down.
I don't see him being here.
Bryson Stott, Matthew Strom, we just talked about. Garrett Stubbs, I wonder if he's in pre-arb.
He might come back for it. Depends on what they want to do with Marchand.
And Matt Vierling, don't forget,
Vierling will be here because I think they like the righty lefty with Marsh in center.
Because I'm looking at the pitching. I mean, starting pitching right now on here as Nola, Wheeler, Suarez, Falter, some James MacArthur. I don't even know. I guess he's in the system somewhere. This must be like minor league guys.
Yeah, it might not be.
And they have Walker.
They do have Walker on there.
They have him as an SP. So, and then if you're looking at your bullpen, you got Dominguez, Coonrod, Alvarado, Bellotti, Brogdon, some guy Debensky, never heard of, Morales, Nick Nelson, totally never heard of, Ortiz, never heard of, Christopher Sanchez, never heard of this guy, never heard of this guy.
Well, I wonder if they either go out and get a true closer or if they hand over the reins to Sir Anthony.
I think they go with Sir Anthony.
I think they should.
And why not? I mean, the guy didn't do bad. I mean, you get shellacked every so often, but nothing.
Everyone does.
Yeah, I mean, it was not like heart attack Hector type stuff. You know what I mean?
No. Saw that bastard in the playoffs.
So I mean, in quick motions, I mean, they make the big signing first. They splash it. You would have thought this would have been the other way around. And it's going to be tit for tat. Yeah, I said it. Tit for tat with this division, especially in the Mets. They got deep pockets. They went out and signed Verlander.
Oh no, he's 49 years old.
He's making $43 million a year.
When I first read that, I thought it was a joke.
They overpaid him so much because he could be like, you know what? I'm in Houston. We won. We're a good team. I can just run with this team. They're like, we're going to give you $43 million. Maybe I'll go to Mets. That's what happened. Like,
can't blame him at all.
No, I mean, I would have too. Like, for $43 million.
Does that mean we get to see Upton in Philadelphia some more?
I was going to say, the good spot is you get to see more Kate Upton. Showing. But I mean, Joe, are the Phillies done?
I don't think so.
Are they done big moves? I should say.
I think they should be. I mean, what really? Where else can outside of a big trade? I think they're done signing big guys. I don't know where else they can go. I mean, I really don't. They have depth at almost every single position. You get to move Stott over to second. You put Trey Turner at shortstop. Days that Turner is off, You have Stott either go back to shortstop, or you have Sosa. Sosa could play third for Bohm. When Bohm's like, they have depth all around. I mean, I guess maybe you can look out, and I think they picked up I can't his first name is escaping me, but the guy Cave, an outfielder from the
Yeah.
Red Sox. So they have another depth outfielder. I mean, I don't know where they can really go. All they can really do.
Jake Cave.
Yeah, Jake Cave.
They have him designated right now as left fielder.
Okay, there you go. That's your platoon for
He's a journeyman. He's 30 years old.
Like, outside of bolstering their pitching, I don't know what other impactful moves that they can make.
They actually have him from now until 2025.
Who's that?
Jake Cave.
Jake Cave.
Yeah.
What's the age on this guy?
30 years old.
Seems like everybody's 30 years old playing baseball right now.
I think 30 is the new 27.
It seems like that is the real age when some of these, bigger name guys get into their stride, into their prime. Because look at it. And listen, the Phillies are notorious for waiting too long to bring these guys up, except for the past year or two, I should say. Bohm came up when we weren't really expecting it. Spencer Howard came up, but he wasn't, what we expected, and he ended up getting traded away. But the Phillies are starting to turn the new leaf, bring these guys up. And I mean, what's the average age that they get brought up? 25? Just,
with the Phillies,
the median,
yeah, I mean, 25, 26.
25. Okay. So then it takes, a year or two. And once you get into the 28, 29, 30, that's when you start to put together your best years. So these guys, i.e. Trea Turner, 30 years old. I mean, Carlos Rodon, he's going to get a big payday. He's 30 years old. I mean, these guys are finally coming into their stride. And yes, their best years are probably ahead of them within the next 3 to 4 years. Yeah. So especially like a Rodon pipe dream at this point, they're not going to get them. If they do, get your World Series tickets now, because it's already over.
How much? What's where you think Rodon's going to get? Like 30?
He's going to get a lot. I mean, Christ, Verlander's getting $43 million, and he's 41. Like, all joking aside, he's 41 years old.
But I also think that's the Mets being the Mets, like overpaying. Like, I don't think Verlander.
I'm sure they had to overpay him to get him there.
I'm talking
in New York,
massively overpaying. I'm talking like $35 million anywhere else.
I could see Carlos Rodon getting $35 million.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
it's not going to be from the Phillies.
It's going to be a hard sell then.
Yeah. There's no doubt.
I would have to. Where do you make that move? Like, what money do you move? Because you can't move anybody else and clear enough space. Like you said, you move Gene Segura and only have to pay $9 more million a year to have. I mean, unless you. What's Reese making?
I think he's right around 16. Wait, I think he's arbitration too. So he'll probably get up to about 18 or 19.
Yeah.
Is Rhys Hoskins worth 18 or 19 $million though?
Well,
honest question.
You're right. He's 12.8 right now. He's estimated 12.8.
Okay.
What are you saying?
Is Rhys Hoskins worth 18, 19 $million right now? For the the pop in his bat when he has it, the defensive liabilities that we know, is he worth that money?
No.
So isn't it like, and that's why I don't really truthfully believe Dombrowski when he says like, oh, Rhys Hoskins is all but guaranteed a spot here on this team.
Well, it's also posturing.
Right, but there are other teams out there, especially with the league being DH'd on both sides now. You can go out and you can trade for a Rhys Hoskins, who is, I don't know, is he in his prime? Is he starting his prime? I don't know exactly where to label Rhys Hoskins in his career.
You would imagine at age 30.
If you just let me finish. If you don't need him to go out on that field at all, and you just need that pop in his back, somebody can come and be like, "Listen, we'll give you some top prospects. We'll give you the the pitching that you need for Rhys Hoskins." So I think if the deal is sweet enough on the table, Dombrowski has to take it.
Well, here's my thing.
I want him to.
Yeah, but exactly. But here's my thing: is like, if
I do like Rhys Hoskins, God damn it, gosh darn it.
What you do?
I do like Rhys Hoskins.
It's like it's not personal, but it's like you're 30 years old. You're not just a liability in the defensively. Your bat is a liability because you decide to go cold. It's winter time,
right?
Like that's
right.
He turns a spring sport to winter sport pretty quickly with that bat. And that's the problem I find more than I can get past it. If it was just one woe, like one defensive versus offensive, not both. That's my thing is I'm over at 30 years old. I'm over the Rhys Hoskins experiment. And if, like you said, you can use him to unload, like, I guess the question would be, are they ready for a couple of things? Do you move Bohm over and you run
Sosa
third more, but does that drop the batting down? Like
it probably drops the batting down, yeah. But then again, does it drop the batting down because you don't know which Rhys Hoskins you're getting at the plate game in and game out?
True. I mean, you'll get that 6-week swing with him where he's just the best hitter in baseball, and that's about it.
Right. And to Rhys's credit, this run that they had, this historic Cinderella postseason that they had for us, and he had for us, his contributions with his bat, his multiple home runs to get us either the lead or back in the game. Like, I forever love him for that. Yeah. And I am so happy that he got to have those moments here in Philadelphia because he is the longest tenured Philly. He's been through the ups and downs. He's been through the crap seasons to the pinnacle of what we saw last year. I am so happy that he got that. But I do truthfully think
and that's about it.
Right, you're right. But I do truthfully think it is time to move on. And it hurts me to say it.
Well, yeah, like listen, there's a time where it's business versus personal. Like,
right.
You wish him the best of luck, except when he plays the Phillies. And that'll be it. He'll come to Citizens Bank Park, maybe playing for another team, and just destroy like the ball every time he comes here. Like that'll be that way it works.
Right. But if he's on another team that comes in and plays the Phillies a lot, you're saying, okay, Rhys Hoskins is coming in. We know that he is a strikeout machine.
Like I said,
you have to look at it from both angles. It's like, yeah, he could come in and hurt us, but also he could come in and be the Rhys Hoskins that we truly know.
And he's a free agent next year, so if he plays, it's all but the trade deadline. He's gone.
That's possible too.
I mean, that's how I look at it.
But do you risk it? Do you risk the trade line knowing that he can go on those stretches of a month or two of just
if you
batting 180,
you go into the season with him knowing you'll see what you have in like other guys like Derek Hall.
Mm-hmm.
If Derek Hall matured and is just playing much better defensively and keeping somewhat in stride offensively, then you feel better about it. And that's what you can do. You can test the waters for 3.5 months.
Sure.
You know what I mean? So you have that ability. I feel like this conversation will happen until it happens.
Oh yeah.
Put Hoskins at the bottom. So what if he does get hot? He gets bunched up the top of the lineup if he stays. I agree. And that's the thing is, Joe, do you feel better? Like, here's my thing: if everything's square and Bryce is back and healthy and playing right field like he normally did and all that stuff, and you can open up that
the
DH spot and let him bat. Now it's more just bat versus defensive woes.
Mm-hmm.
And you put him at the 6-7 spot, 8 spot
purely as a DH, and you're talking with Bryce being back in right field. Well, where does Nick Castellanos go? Wouldn't Nick go to DH?
True.
Like whose bat do you trust more? Castellanos, who had probably the most down season he's ever had at the plate, or do you trust Rhys in knowing what we do, either strike out or hit the big hit?
I think upside wise, Nick has a lot more.
I agree. I do agree.
I keep saying it, and maybe I'll be wrong. I don't know, but I'm just so not worried about him right now. I'm
not really either.
I'm not worried. I think they will work with him. They will get him right. You see, he was leaning. He was so off balance.
He's the most aggressive swinger, first pitch swinger in all the league.
I think they will.
There's a statistic for that, and Nick Castellanos is right up on top.
And they know that, and they're going to throw like some 8 feet over his head because he's going to swing at it.
I know he should just come out next year or next season with the mentality of I am not swinging at the first pitch on any at bat all season, because then what happens? They that starts happening, and then they start forcefully throwing right down the center of the plate. So he's going to start to get more of those looks at first pitch if he just holds off.
Steve saying, who would have thought that Burrow would stick it to us 2 years after he left? Not that he was great with San Fran, but he got the other rings. Like I said, that San Fran team was a very good team, and it's not like Pat Burrow put them over. Like he might have been helpful.
He contributed for sure.
But he like you said, like you gave a lot of kudos to Rhys for what he did and the ability to have the chance to do that. Well, what about a lot of other guys like Bryson Stott hitting some clutch hits like when he had a chance? Who's our center fielder? Why am I just blanking on his name?
San Fran back then?
No, for us this year.
Oh, Marsh,
Brandon Marsh, like
Quinn.
Brandon Marsh. I said like in the postseason, like guys who who stepped up and hit in big moments. Like people all did that. Like I think we forget that.
Right.
It was just that there was like once again, here's Reese. Here's two big wallops in a couple games and like 3 or 4 game stretch, and then it's cold again. Like it's just his postseason. If you look at it, it's cold, 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 hot, cold, 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 cold.
They have more options this year because Reese was in that 2 spot. We all knew that it was a mistake, and Schwarber was in that 1 spot, and a lot of people thought that was a mistake. I was fine with it. Now with Trea Turner, you either have Trea leading off or batting second, and it's going to either. Well, not that it's going to either. It's going to put Rhys Hoskins towards the bottom of your lineup, regardless.
I have a scenario for you before we move on to the next topic. Pitching lineup.
Mm-hmm.
Turner leadoff. Bryce number 2.
Okay.
JT number 3.
I do like JT in the 3 spot.
Schwarber in the 5 or 4. Depending on how well he's doing, Nicky bats in the 5. Bohm in the 6. Now you can interchange those two because of one's batting better than the other. And then I guess Reese would be in the 7, right? And then whoever's Stott and Marsh. That's a hell of a lineup.
I like Schwarber in the 4 if you have Bohm behind him because Bohm is more of a contact hitter.
Okay.
So he's gonna make contact regardless. And the number 4 spot needs some threat behind.
I think
him
on this lineup,
to
5 or 6 is like anybody else's.
I don't see like if Nick Castellanos doesn't turn it over quick, like if we don't see improvement quick in the beginning of the season, people are not going to worry about pitching to the number 4 guy.
I think he just needs to make contact and stop being as aggressive. I think he's got to stop like Ryan Howard, like home run or bust. Like he needs to just get the ball into play.
Yeah.
Like we saw him do it in the postseason. He did it, started to come on a little bit towards the end of that World Series run. And when he was just putting bat the ball, he was, getting long doubles or long singles and some doubles. That's all I want.
I'll be honest, dude. I'm almost to the point where I would just stick Schwarber back at leadoff. I know, listen, no real spot in a lineup is prototypical anymore. A leadoff hitter isn't a leadoff hitter anymore. It's not. You're not getting Ricky Henderson out there with 80 steals, getting on base 80 steals a game, and for the number 2, 3 guy to knock him in. It doesn't happen anymore. Kyle Schwarber, he's out there. He was the home run king for the NL for the NL this year with 46, I believe it was.
Something like that. Yeah.
I'm taking 46 runs at my top of the lineup all day, every day.
I think they look at that and they say, well, if we're getting 40 home runs ish from 35 to 40 home runs from him,
he's going to see better pitches because Trea Turner's behind him too.
Well, that's my thing is if I think you have to pitch to Trea or Harper, right? Because what are you going to do? You're going to put Trea and Harper on, and then you're going to let JT come up and wallop you. Like that's what I'm saying. That's why that's my lineup in my head right now. Because then even if one of those 3 guys are on, and now you got Schwarber coming on, and he keeps hitting for the power that he has, now all those solo home runs change to.
Oh no, I get it. I get the math of it, absolutely. But I'm also going to say this: how exciting is it for a leadoff, game leadoff home run from Kyle Schwarber? What he has done so many times this season.
True, but there's also, if you want to play a little, looking back, a revisionist history type situation. If there was a guy on base and that was a 2-run lead, does it change the whole outcome of that game?
That's very true.
Pretty much so, yeah.
But he's also played for 2 other teams who had him in leadoff as well. So, I mean, there's no rhyme or reason behind it. Kyle Schwarber's hitting bombs.
Well, like I said to you before, like the prototypical leadoff hitter has kind of gone to the wayside.
Absolutely.
Because like we said, except for the first hit the bat at the game, you're rarely the first guy to lead off,
right?
Because you could be batting third behind the 8-9 hole, or whatever. But I just wonder because now you have a speedy 300 hitter with you. Bryce is healthy and playing at the Bryce Harper level we know he can. You got to really pick your poison. And if you somehow get past them, then you got to go, oh God, JT.
Right.
Like I said, like it's just like looking down the line, like until you get to the 7 hole, you're like, I'm scared. Especially if Reese is playing well, I'm scared.
Yeah.
Like I said, guys, the Flyers are on right now. So if you're watching, mute them and turn us up and comment along like everybody else says. Steve, thanks. Anthony, thanks. Pelotero, thanks. But I want to talk a little Flyers with you for a moment, and something really cool. I don't know. I'm sure you saw this. They signed somebody.
Mm-hmm.
A 9-year-old Zachary Wertz, W-E-R-T-Z, Wertz, joined the team on a 2-day contract. He was had a liver transplant, like a life-saving liver transplant, and he was supposed to get this Make-A-Wish 2 years ago.
Yeah.
But of course, COVID hit 2 years ago, and they put that to the back burner. But what a cool story!
That is really cool, man.
You saw him like practicing with the guys.
I love when these organizations step up and do something like that for these kids who need it. You know, it's so cool.
In a young team, especially a team that's half an AHL team, it really, I think, helps them out with these kinds.
Yeah,
perspective is a good way of putting it. You know, last night they beat the Avalanche, who aren't the same exact team that they were when they left the championship on the ice last year, but they still they come up and they're trying to have fight. Torts is out there throwing. Listen, you give me nothing to work with, you're gonna get nothing.
Right, of course.
He's telling like this. They need to make moves. Now, I don't think those moves happen this year.
Nah, I doubt it.
But I just wanted to point that I thought that was really cool.
Yeah, and to give them a little bit more credit, I mean, on Cancer Night they had our very own Freddie Burns and his family out to the game. Yep. So I mean, they're all over the place. Like listen, the Flyers right now, we have a lot of things to say about them, but they are an organization that cares and they do give back. And if there's one thing that we can say about that team, it is that it's that when it comes to helping, in whatever type of cause it is. They're right on the forefront of everything and, always there to help.
By the way, those purple cancer hats, the Flyers ones, I'm not a big purple guy. Cool, I'll wear like a purple button-down shirt, like in a suit or something occasionally. But like you'll never really see me wear purple often, but they're pretty sweet.
They're sweet.
Speaking of cool, like sweet, cool things, check out this art, Joe. Jordan Spector. He was on Philly Press Box Radio last week. You've got to know him a little bit over. Like you have a cool print from like this is one picture of the art that he does from the Super Bowl in 2017.
Yeah, how cool is that?
That is just amazing. This mural he has here of the Sixers, like throughout the ages.
He actually sent us a very big print of that we're gonna hang up in our studio, 17 by 60. I mean, it's. We might
have to break out the.
I meant to bring it with me tonight. I forgot.
We might have to break out the measuring tape to see where we're gonna fit that. Exactly,
I know it's really big, but no, this guy's art is top notch. It is SpectorSportsArt.com, and it's not only Philly stuff he has. Of course, he has the Phillies, the some Flyer stuff, Sixer stuff, Eagle stuff, of course, but he has it all. He's got college. He's got Kobe stuff. I mean, everybody get out there and really check it out. And it's perfect time for the holiday season. If you have that guy out there that you just can't think of that last gift to get him, head over to SpectorSportsArt.com and enter the promo code PressBox20 for 20% off your order.
Yeah, so SpectorSportsArt.com, like Joe said, PressBox20. All caps, PressBox20. Yes. That's important. And check him out. Support a great guy. He does some great work. And like I said, go to last week's show with Philly Press Box Radio. They got a little one-on-one with him, and we'll probably be having him on in the not too distant future as well to talk a little bit more. So Joe,
yes,
we got
Al.
You can't not have some fun talking about this. You're 11-1 Philadelphia Eagles, my friend. So I just want to go through some stuff with you real quick. I harken back to the Washington game.
You're speechless.
I know. We go back to the Washington game, right?
Yep.
And everybody kind of picked us to beat Washington. We didn't. We kind of let ourselves get beaten. I know that sounds like a cop out, but it's true. I don't think Washington beat us. We allowed that to happen.
Yeah. And the refs.
Yeah, but people kept saying, "Oh, wait till they play a real team."
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Aaron Rodgers isn't playing well, but they might wallop him.
Mm.
He's getting better. He's doing real well. He beat Dallas. That means we beat Dallas. Tennessee Titans.
Yeah.
They're going to have a hell of a game.
With this one. Really impressed with this one.
I feel like I was one of the few people who picked the Eagles to win, and by a decent margin. I had a 34-17 victory. Me and actually Mike Lauro from PM in the AM, Had because oh my god, we have the same pick. Pretty close, 35-10, even better. I'll take that.
Okay.
But my point is, where's the respect, Joe? Where
It's not out there. I'll tell you that.
I am dumbfounded.
It's not out there.
Did Jerry Jones buy ESPN?
That's a good question. Because it's the only explanation as to why all these guys are out there. I said it the other day, stroking the Dallas Cowboys. Like, they have the Cowboys not only reaching the Super Bowl, but winning the Super Bowl over the Chiefs, the Bills, and the Eagles.
Yeah.
It's unheard of. It's unheard of.
And here's my thing is, Chiefs laid an egg.
They did.
Patrick Mahomes, as a guy who has him on his fantasy team, you know,
he always comes back to the fantasy.
Yeah, was pedestrian. Let's see. The Eagles learn from their mistakes. They do it quickly, whether it's Hebrew Hammer, Italian Icicle, or Hurts. Didn't cut that one off guard. Thanks, Steve. You made me giggle. Quote of the night, Steve. There you go. But like my point is the Bills have not been. First of all, we're the only 11-1 team, right? Best record in the NFL. Am I correct by saying this, Joe?
I believe you are.
I believe I am.
Mr. Severe.
And listen, the Buffalo Bills. I'm not turning my nose up to them at all.
Right.
And you could make a you could make an argument to say they could be better than the Eagles. I will disagree. Maybe it's very close, but I still feel between the turnover ratio. I mean, Josh Allen turns the ball over a lot, and Jalen Hurts poisoned the pocket. Like, I asked, Joe, kudos to you. You jumped on that Jalen Hurts train much faster than I did. I was just expecting an improvement this year. I was not, maybe a better playoff run, maybe a first round win, and go from there. See if he can make better football decisions. We all knew the other intangibles were there, but my God, like Joe, we are on the precipice of people talk. When they talk NFL in general, you always hear Tom Brady and Aaron Rodgers and Patrick Mahomes and Lamar Jacksons of the world. And the upcoming guys like Justin Herbert, Joe Burrow. You hear all these guys, and Jalen Hurts kind of was never in that conversation.
Right. 2 years ago, he was left off a list of 30, quarterbacks.
There was more quarterbacks.
There's more backups.
Than teams. Guys who never played a lick of football.
Yeah.
In front of him. And I did a little exercise last week. I don't know if you watched last week's show.
Of course I did.
Yeah, of course you did. But I did a little exercise with
you guys were getting mad at my comment.
That's right. With Freddie Burns. I forgot about that. Just kind of like right now at week 13 at the time, where of this starting quarterback, would you rather have that quarterback or Jalen Hurts? And I had Jalen Hurts maybe top 3, number 3, like maybe Josh Allen.
Definitely Josh Allen.
Patrick Mahomes, you got to make it. You can't. It's hard to fight that.
Sure.
He's one.
Sure.
He's at least one, and that puts you over the top. But outside of that, I cannot think of an NFL starting quarterback as of right now, as of that week, even right now, that I would want over Jalen Hurts.
I think you can say that about even before the season, because you can say, would you rather Jalen Hurts or an aging Tom Brady? Would you rather Jalen Hurts over an aging Aaron Rodgers? The answer is always Jalen Hurts at 24. Sure. To your comment is Mahomes and Josh Allen really are the only two I think that you can have a real argument over Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts, 24, 25 years old. He is still one of the youngest starting quarterbacks in the league, and he's finally coming into his own. And one of the things I absolutely love about this team is the versatility just from the quarterback position. 2 weeks ago, Packers game, 363 on the ground. Jalen Hurts had over 100 rushing yards in the first quarter. What this team does is they go in, they watch the tape, they see where the weaknesses of the defenses are, and that's what they scheme around. They knew the Packers were weak on the rush. They ran for 363. They look at the Titans game last week. They know that their secondary is weak, and what they do, they put the ball through the air, and they have 380 plus from Jalen Hurts through the air. I mean, this team can attack you on every level, no matter what it is. It all comes, and that's such a kudos to the coaching staff too, because they go in like just a fine oiled machine and know exactly what to do. They see something they don't like, they see something that gets blown up, they make the adjustments. Jalen Hurts, and he can follow suit with everything they do. They want to change the scheme of the game, change the direction. They want to turn it into a run first game. That's exactly what they can do. He can create with his legs. He's creating with his arm. He has, I think he's like one of like the top 2 over 25-yard touchdowns on the season. The guy is proving that he can do it all.
Cars
And
number
I'm telling you right now, with Mahomes, Mahomes was looked at as the lead in the MVP, I guess race, I guess you can say, between him and Hurts. Now with another loss, Jalen Hurts, it's his for the taking.
Yeah, I mean,
it is now his award to lose.
This run would be, as long as he doesn't falter down the line, yeah. As we put up here, and I always, Joe, how do we say this guy's name? Last name?
John Gnaud.
Okay. The Eagles are the first NFL team to throw for 350 yards after rushing for 350 plus yards the previous week since the 1987 Los Angeles Raiders.
Right, and if you look at that Raiders of the rushing and the passing, the Eagles were over on both of those stats.
75 points in 2 weeks, guys. I mean, you got that. You have to take a lot of that into consideration. And the fact is
where's our boy Willie? Because we were talking with him last week, saying like, all right, well, if this is the game, if they beat the Packers, which
why we're not hearing from them.
Exactly. If they beat the Titans, now do they get the respect? And the answer is no. No, they don't get respect.
They don't want to. They don't want to. Steve has a good point here. Good thought process here. I kind of, it probably makes sense. For all Hurts has accomplished, it won't be until he does once in the playoffs, until the media starts giving him the props. So once he does in the playoffs,
I get that. I get
it to a point. Like, I know we can't celebrate.
But why does Dallas? Why does Dallas get that credit? Like, Dak hasn't done a darn thing in the playoffs.
Do you not remember the just baffling stupidity at the end of that playoff game for them last year?
Yeah, of course I do.
But don't worry, he'll win the Super Bowl this year. Cowboys put up 54 points against a JV high school team, and the Colts and ESPN's acting like the Cowboys won the Super Bowl. Yeah, you're absolutely right.
Well, listen, the Eagles only beat them by a point as well. But what I want to say is, yeah, Dallas did have a routing on Sunday Night Football the other Sunday, but the Colts were in that game until the fourth quarter. The Colts lost that game. Sure, Dallas was the better team. No, I have no problem saying that. But the Colts gave it to them for 3 quarters as well.
Mm-hmm. Now, let me ask you a question. Steve says something here, and Steve, keep bringing on the fire here because you're hitting all the good points.
Yeah, so, Steve, make sure you subscribe on our YouTube.
Yeah. Could you imagine if Andy Reid learned as quickly as this coaching staff? They'd have 4 or 5 Super Bowls. He makes a good point. It's
sure
because he's one of the most, next to maybe Bill Belichick, celebrated, currently active coaches, that there's a little bit of a arrogance to him. Like that allows.
I'm saying Andy's top 5 in any era.
Yeah. No, you're right. Yeah. You're absolutely right. But I'm saying, is there an arrogance to him? Like, is it the fact that Sirianni is kind of up and coming, and so is Steichen and all them, and saying, all right, well, running the ball's not working, we're just going to run it. Well, running the ball's in, we're going to beat you with it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, because that's what you try to do. You okay, all right, well, they're not a good pass defense team or a run defense team. We're going to run the ball on them. Well,
I think a lot has to do with ego. I think this could even be said about Doug Peterson. Like, yeah, they have these game plans. They want to, call the plays. They want to do things their way, no other way. And I think with Nick Sirianni, he's a very understanding that there's different directions a game can go. And we've seen it with him handing over the play call on the Steichen. We see him kind of back off with Jonathan Gannon's defense. I think he has full trust in his guys, and in which I don't think Andy Reid had full trust in his guys. And I don't believe, even though Doug Peterson fell on the sword for his guys, I don't think he had full trust in his guys as well. I think it was their way or no way. And Nick Sirianni is a very level-headed coach. And I think that says a lot with young coaches these days. And I think that's why some of these players really buy into them, because they're kind of, right there, in the thick of it with each other. Like, age group, I guess you can say, everyone is willing to go to war for each other.
What won me over with Nick Sirianni is the minute he said, you know what, Steichen, you're in charge.
Yeah.
Like, that says a lot.
Impressive.
That says a lot. I don't care if you've been in the league for 5 minutes or forever. It says a lot to me. from a character standpoint and the ability to go, well, maybe I don't know what I'm doing.
Right.
And listen, I think if you could find a guy who you trust in play calling, you could still be you're still in the ear. You can be like, listen, go with this one. This is how I'm feeling about it. You could try to overrule them occasionally when you need
Sure.
to, or look at this, this is wide open. They're leaving the middle wide open. Get some tight end action in here. They're unbalanced on the left. So here, whatever. Like just you can still put your 2 cents in it. And let's be honest, I have to be the play calling head coach thing. I think it hurts you because you can't be a full time head coach because you have to be a OC and a head coach. And who cares?
Doug Peterson didn't even have an official offensive coordinator. He had a team of 13 guys that he did not even listen to.
Yeah, that really helps.
So, I mean, you want to talk about a guy, not being able to make the adjustments and having the ego of his way or no way. I mean, it's Doug Peterson. He couldn't even come into an agreement on one offensive coordinator. He needed 13 to just give him ideas, and maybe, hopefully he liked them.
I don't think it was that at all, Joe.
No?
I think it was them saying, we don't trust you. Hence why he left. Hence why I think that was the beginning of it all.
Mm-hmm.
We don't trust you. We're going to bring these offensive gurus in who know different parts of the offense better than others. And kind
That's fair. You can look at it that way.
And I think that was one of the things he's just like, no, I don't want this. My guys, or I'm out of here. Like that type of mentality. And he knew he'd probably land another job, and he did. Not right away, but he did.
He got himself in a great situation down there in Jacksonville.
Yeah. So I want to rapid fire a little bit through this week because I want to touch on the Giants upcoming. But let's just start with this. Like we said, 29 for 39, 380 yards, 3 TDs, 1 rushing TD, no interceptions. That still boggles my mind. How the giveaway takeaway still plus 13, even though they had a couple. And this is not just Jalen Hurts; that's the whole team.
Oh, of course.
Even though there's the last couple of weeks, the takeaways have been a little bit more than we were used to. Last week was, much better. I mean, in an almost perfect game, Joe. I did the post game.
Well, I don't know if you can call it anything perfect. Like the fact that this scored the way it was, and the Eagles had like 9 false starts, kind of blows my mind.
Well, that's what I was saying. I'm doing the post game with Dibes when we're doing our Eagles post game with it. I'm sitting there going, everything would be A to A plus from offense to defense to even special teams, which we'll touch on in a second.
Sure.
And that's with a 35-10 win with our offensive line making more mistakes in one game than they've done in the last maybe 2 seasons.
Yeah.
It's just it is borderline amazing. But
very uncanny of them.
Jalen Hurts is the player of the offensive player of the week in the NFL.
Rightfully so.
2 weeks in a row.
Rightfully so.
AJ Brown had no ill will against his former team at all. He just 8 receptions, 119 yards, 2 TDs, and trucked the hell out of one of his former teammates.
One of my favorite things from the win was his post game. His post game, he's wearing a Yankees hat. Everyone was bitching about it, like Yankees. It matched his jacket. That's why he was wearing it. I mean, but after his first celebration, after his first time, he went up with the towel and he started like whipping the goalpost. And they asked him about it. He was like, "Well, it's my former team. I'd have put a whooping on him." Then I hugged it because I still love some of them.
Yeah,
I was like, that's such a great answer, and it's just kudos on being truthful about it too.
He tried his best to say that there was no
ill will.
He didn't circle this game on the calendar. Right. It was just another game to him. You saw when he got first part. I love the fact that he gets a 40-yard touchdown called back because of his toe on the line.
I know.
And then he gets a 40-yard touchdown the next play after trucking the hell out of his former teammate.
I got a little worried with that flag, but then you see the replay and we're like, well, wait a minute. No, that's got to be on the defense.
Yeah. DP wanted more say. He didn't want to be democratic as JL wanted to be. Doug Peterson, I guess he's saying. And that's fine. But when it happening, it didn't feel like the right move. I agree with you, Steve. He's pretty much saying
it was surprising for sure.
We all kind of felt Doug Peterson got the cold shoulder. But,
well, I think one of the reasons it was more surprising is because Carson Wentz was already gone, and we thought it was going to be, okay, is Laurie going Wentz or is he going Peterson? And then they get rid of both of them, and it's like, oh, well, what's the direction we're going here?
And they didn't like his game plan. That's what it was.
Yeah.
God bless them. They made the right move. We all thought it was a bad move, and we all thought it was kind of a shitty move.
Yeah.
That's why we're fans and make the cold decisions. You know what I mean? I mean, the fact is, when they make not so cold decisions, they tend to blow up in their face.
Oh yeah.
I mean, you can go back and look at some of these signings, like trying to think who's the wide receiver in the why am I completely I can't
From the Eagles?
yeah.
Pascal?
No. In the Super Bowl. Why am I completely blank?
Corey Clement?
No, the wide receiver.
From 2017.
Yeah, they Alshon. Thank you. I'm just completely brain fart there. Like they go and sign into some major contract right away.
Yeah.
Like that's an emotional move.
That's why they had him an extra year. They're
Yeah.
going to get rid of him.
The fact that they had so many false starts in the first half, still scored by playing through it, was impressive. And that's what I'm saying. Like, that's why it bothers me that this team keeps getting better even in adversity.
Yeah.
You know, they get knocked down, they get beaten by a lesser team in the Washington. Don't like what I say. It's a lesser team. We let our guard down. They came back and they smacked Aaron Rodgers in the face.
Well, here's the thing with Washington is they're in the playoffs at this point. The NFC East, all four teams are in the playoffs right now.
And so is 6-6 Tampa Bay.
Yeah.
They're 2 games ahead of the other team in their division.
Yeah. And by the way, thank you, Tampa Bay, for that last play of the game to beat the Saints, because that draft pick went from pick number 18 to pick number 5 for our Philadelphia Eagles. The NFL's best record, 11-1. 5th overall pick from 2023.
Best record in football, and you have a fifth overall.
I saw somewhere where they said it was guaranteed top 5, but I only saw it from one place. I didn't confirm it. I think it's wrong. So maybe another loss by them. Maybe that guarantees it. I don't know.
I'm trying to think, like, which they're 4-9. I mean, say
3, 4, and 5 are all traded away. That's unbelievable.
Detroit, they have a better record because
Seattle's having a really surprising season with Geno Smith. They have the number 3. I mean, that's awesome.
But my thing is,
Rams could really use that pick.
Yeah, they thought that with Denver. Who would have thought they would?
I've never seen a Super Bowl championship hangover like we've seen from the Rams,
and then injuries on top of injuries,
and the injuries. Yeah,
I mean, you lose Stafford, you lose Cup.
They didn't even know what the hell to do with their backfield in the beginning of the season. Cam Akers was supposed to be their head guy. Darrell Henderson ended up playing a majority of that game 1 against the Bills. Cam Akers, gets all butthurt and he's like, I want to trade. Then they end up getting rid of Henderson, and now Cam Akers is back. Like, this team has no idea what they're doing.
And the funny thing is how this is it can't be guaranteed. I mean, the 2 teams in front of them are 3-9 and 3-9.
Right.
I mean, if the Rams win or lose, that could make a difference. The Rams, so there's no way it's guaranteed.
Yeah.
Too many games left. But no, that's what I'm saying. Like, but what happened by them winning kept it from going from 18 to 5, of course. So that means the likeliness of it being a top 10 pick is significantly
for sure.
Significantly better.
I might be able to say that's guaranteed.
That might be guaranteed, too.
Yeah.
I would have to do the math. If Hurts, the first player in NFC history to win awards back-to-back weeks, I think
doubt
he
it.
is.
Really?
No, it's what he says. I think he is, man.
That
I would have to look into.
I doubt it.
I would have to Google the machine there to find out what's going on.
I would be hard pressed to say that, just 2 of the other guys in the league right now. Or I'll even throw a third guy in there. Like Joe Burrow played last year was a great season with him. Joe Burrow could have been offensive guy, especially with Jamar Chase. I want to bought him.
Is this the 4th time he won it this year or the 3rd?
I think it's the 3rd.
Because it was Vikings.
But Mahomes, Josh Allen, they easily could have had it 2 weeks in a row in AFC last year or so.
Sure. Well, he's saying NFC history.
An NFC. Oh, that's possible. Yes. Possible. I'm thinking league overall.
So, like I said, we went through it. Just 130.3 rating for Jalen. They lose
4-1.
4. Wow. They must have let up some
empty netters.
Yeah. 130.3 rating. Yeah.
Look at that. 130.3. 130.3. Come on. Tell me he's not the MVP. Forget that.
No, he sucks.
Forget that.
He's the worst. They should just move on from him. They should trade him for a bag of balls. So, Joe, I have to ask you a question.
Mm-hmm.
Go back to draft night. Go back to draft night, all right?
I love this so much.
Go back to draft night. You're live. You're live on the air. Remember this.
Yeah.
I'm doing all the behind the scenes stuff. You're live on the air. I whistle to you. Hey, bud, they made a trade with the Titans. Oh, bro, AJ Brown. They're getting AJ Brown.
Number 18 and a 3.
Yeah, for the first round pick at AJ Brown. I mean, like, and So here to go. So the Titans GM John Robinson says, "Yeah, we don't need superstar like AJ Brown. We'll do just fine without him."
Well, I will say Treylon Burks had a really nice touchdown the other day, but then he got walloped and he was out for the rest of the game. So
I'm going to ask you about that in a second too. But
clean hit.
If this game was different, there's still the same outcome, 35-10. But say AJ Brown was not as much of a factor. Scoring came from other avenues.
Mm-hmm.
Does he get fired?
I don't want to say one game's performance is it, but I think a big part of it had to be with the Titans owner just saving some face here, because there were videos and pictures put out the next day of him. You could see his face in the owner's box, and the Eagles fans just turning to him and just blasting these guys, making fun of the AJ trade and the score of the game, and just how, what a boneheaded, like you said, we're starting to see the war room videos again of Vrabel just getting up so very mad, just not even wanting to be around anybody. So I think if some of those videos and pictures didn't come out, there's a chance he doesn't get fired, but I think it's just the embarrassment over it all. And then, of course, with the added performance of AJ Brown, I think it was just a whole cluster of things that it was almost like inevitable that the ownership was like, we have to do something about this. It doesn't make our organization look good. It doesn't make our decision to keep this GM, in power good. So, pull the plug before it gets worse.
Steve wants to know, is Brandon Graham or Lane Johnson's heir apparent the 5th overall pick?
Yes.
I think more Lane, but if there's some stud, not linebacker, but a stud defensive lineman anywhere, put him anywhere on the line.
Yeah.
That's also possible. They love that. I mean, first round picks for the Eagles, if it's not a quarterback, I mean, they've done wide receivers enough. That's not happening again. They're primarily going to go O-line or D-line. That's where the trenches is.
Here's my thing. All right, Fletcher Cox, I guess we can say the writing's on the wall for him, correct?
I think he's done.
So could you see them going out there and getting another DT?
Sure. That's what I said. Like anywhere on the D-line.
Oh, right. I'm looking at this guy. I'm looking at this guy, Jalen Carter from Georgia. I think they can double dip with the DT from Georgia again at that number 5. Put him up there with Jordan Davis, possibly if they run 2 nose tackles, or with a Javon Hargrave, or if you're guaranteed that top 5 spot, you either got to trade up for the edge rusher and Will Anderson as well. I mean, I personally think they're going to get Lane's replacement. I don't know if it'll be with that top 5.
I think it depends
if it's Anderson or Jalen Carter. I think that they go that route. But there is an offensive tackle out there who is predicted to go in the top 5. Off the top of my head, I can't remember. I can't think of his name. If somebody out there knows it, please put it up. But there is a guy out there that they can get, to replace Lane in the top 5. There's no doubt about that. It's going to be trenches regardless.
Yeah, it's going to be the trenches. Lane kind of alluded to, he's got a couple of years left in him. We all know the injury history.
Well, I think he has one more. Yeah. I think
if he comes out healthy on this, he has at least.
Well, they have Jurgens. I honestly think that this is Jason Kelce's last season.
Well, hold on, let's see something real quick. You can keep going while I pull this up, but
sure. No, I personally think that this is Jason Kelce's last season. We all know the stories behind the Cam Jurgens and Jason Kelce. Basically handpicking him and recruiting him to for the powers to be at the draft. And I think that's what I don't think Lane Johnson is going to get that involved looking for his replacement. But I do think that he knows that it's coming down to the next couple of seasons. He said that he has a year or so that he knows. Years. Right. He has a year in his mind that says, barring any injuries, as long as I remain healthy, this is the age, the year that I'm planning to play to. But he has to know that the team's responsibility is to go out there and start looking for his replacement now. So,
and obviously they learned with Kelce. They learned how Brandon Brooks, kind of retired young. And
Jason now has a podcast and a singing career. Lane Johnson has a singing career. I mean,
Christmas albums every year.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
Did you know that all of them are sold out, all the vinyls, and they're going on eBay right now for over $4,000?
Jesus, no, I did not know that.
Yeah.
So here's the thing. So looking at this going forward, 2023, he will be making. He's making 14 million. 9 of it's a bonus, prorated bonus.
Yeah, they restructure them all the time, though.
Yeah, yeah, they might make it more guaranteed or
Yeah.
more bonus, but he's making between 14 and 60. But he's not a free agent until 2026.
Wow.
So he could finish out those 3 years and be done. Listen, I think winning this year plays in it. Sometimes it makes guys go, "Do you want? I got 2 Super Bowls.
Right.
I got a career here. I could do whatever I want."
How old is he? 32?
30. He is 30, 32.
Okay.
Yep, on the nose. So that's
best thing
I don't want
Chip Kelly ever did.
Yeah, I don't want to go. I don't want to sit there and I hate looking at like guys leaving when we're still 11-1 and have a whole postseason to go. But we'll get to that deeper into the.
Let me ask you something, because this is something I've realized about myself. When you were younger and you're following the team, you're following the draft, and you look at the offense, you're like, I want the best receiver, the best running back. I want the flash. I want the offense to be, firing on all cylinders. And now with the industry we're in and how we really, dive into it, and we start looking at the other ways that these teams are built, and you start thinking, all right, it is defense. It is the trenches. It's not the sexy, wide receiver out there. If you have to go out there and get an offensive guard, I mean, that's not a sexy pick. But like you and I, like at least in my mindset, I know that these are the necessary moves to build your team for success for years to come.
Well, obviously, I mean, when you're younger, you want the big name. Like,
right.
That's what you want. Even though you're like, there's no chance of you getting that, or you already have a stud wide receiver. You're not gonna.
Right. It's like years ago, like Zeke Elliott. Like I was like, all right, maybe number 4 you get Zeke Elliott. Like now I'm like, I'm running back in the first. Absolutely not. Like your mindset just completely changes the older we get and the more that we actually know about the inner workings of a team.
I mean, listen, I'm a little part and partial to the line, so like, that was that's my bread and butter right there growing up in grade school and high school. Like that's what I played offensively and defensively, and I loved it. Like there's a mindset to alignment. Like you love it or you don't do it at all.
Right.
Like that's what I'm saying. Like you have to love that battle. You're involved in every play, even though you're not being scored. Your name's not being screened for scoring a touchdown or throwing a great 15-yard pass for the first down or something like that. But and I think that's just how the NFL went too. Like look how much these guys are getting paid now.
I know.
A whole line made $19 million. A good line made $19 million. The entire how many times did you see like when teams made the playoffs? Like I remember Dak did it. Dak and Dez did it a few years like right before we won the Super Bowl when they were making a playoff run, and one of them bought them all Mac computers, Apple computers, and another guy bought them all like a crate of sneakers and all this stuff because the guys didn't get paid a lot. That was like kind of like a payment to them. Like, thank you guys for keeping me protected so I can do what I'm doing.
My 6.
But now it's like, nah, bitch, pay me.
I mean, Jason Kelce, 14 mil for a center. I mean, that's the highest paid ever.
Yeah. And he deserves every last cent of it.
Absolutely.
And you saw him beating himself up. Like, first part, Stoutland was destroying them at the end of the game, during the game, and definitely throughout this week.
Yeah.
But I think they were destroying themselves probably more.
Yeah.
Like that team holds that core, that line, just a core group of guys that hold themselves. I mean, you see Landon Dickerson, who's just been there for a short time. Like, by the way, like I guess maybe this is me once again, part and partial to the lineman. Like a couple of the offsides with him where he kind of had like little leaning forward.
Yeah.
I mean, that happens to the best of
timing.
Them. I mean, you see great defensive guys try to time the center snap and get that extra like nanosecond hair of a difference, and they're trying to.
They say that Jason Peters was offsides or false start every like snap.
Yeah, he did. Like we know that but his was more blatant. This was like a little lean. Like you see it a little bit more like with a guy who like Jordan Mailata, who definitely didn't play football his whole life.
Right.
So it's a little different with him. But Landon is just trying to get his weight right. And as a big man, I mean a very big man, sometimes if you overcompensate, you get that little lean and you try to get back and it's so noticeable.
Sure.
So you're trying to get a stout Titans defensive line. You're trying to keep up with them, especially with your guards. You have to protect that center because they got to snap the ball and come out. I mean, we saw that video where Landon kind of like set the guy up, and Kelsey came out,
smoked him.
Not just smoked him, but threw him directly into Mailata. I always call him Mailata. And Milano just like looked at him like, "What's up, bro? Like, get this guy off me!" Like, just like he didn't even flinch. It was just that I don't know what was the funniest part: the way Dickerson set him up, the way Kelsey threw him, or the way Milano just like draft. Like he didn't even blink. But let's go through a couple things here. Then we're going to talk about the upcoming Eagles Giants game. One thing is, we said like a huge step up from the special teams. Britton Kobe, man, 6 returns for 105 yards. That's 17 and a half yards on average. I think somebody grabbed him by the pad and said, "Yo, you want a job in the NFL tomorrow, next week? Don't screw up." That's the only thing we ask him. Just don't screw up. Don't give us bad field position. Don't let them have the ball back. Don't make stupid mistakes.
Yeah, that 105 was the second most yardage from a returner in all the league this season.
Yeah, he went from like the worst to the best. And on top of it, he got special teams player of the week. So that's awesome. Hopefully they can keep building off this because like with the returns, like Boston Scott, like the punt returns, thank God.
I know.
Kickoff returns. Like, why did that take so long?
I don't know, but I like them back there.
I'm thinking the biggest cheering came not from the stands, not from AJ Brown or Jalen Hurts, from Clay and Kobe, knowing that they have a job next week.
Yeah,
like I think that is probably true. Another guy that people really want to see more of and been talking about, we got to see because Gardner Minshew came in and Jalen, we just walloped them, gave him, that's a great sometimes ending to a game.
Oh, I love it.
Like, it's funny because that's what all fans been waiting.
I wanted Jalen to get the 400 though. I'll say that.
Yeah, I like the fact that he don't care and they don't care. Just like move on with it. But like that's my thing is like they're smart, like they're making smart moves. But like Nakobe Dean, he played a little over a quarter, like you said in your tweet here. Total 6 tackles, led the team. 6 tackles and a
much like Green Blankenship from the week before. He led the team with 6 tackles.
And like you said, these guys are stepping up, and they're still being the best team, in the NFL, no matter what ESPN likes to say.
Yeah. Unfortunately, his time on the field came from Kaiser White being, taken off the field. We don't know a status for the Giants game. We don't know if Nakobe Dean's going to see more snaps. Probably should. But if Nakobe Dean comes out and continues the ball, I think Kaiser White's going to be not with the Eagles next season. I mean, it's only a 1-year deal he's on anyway, so it was up in the air whether he was coming back. But if you have Dean waiting in the crosshairs, I mean, I think he may have just played himself out of injured himself out of Philadelphia.
All right, so according to Bleeding Green Nation, and this came out for 4 hours ago, a little over 4 hours ago. Who did not practice was Sean Bradley. 2 players listed under limited participation was Quez and Kaiser.
Okay.
Watkins has the AC joint sprain. He was listed as limited instead of do not participate. And let's see.
We could be seeing a Zach Pascal step up game here.
True, and I mean Stoll and all them.
Stoll had a nice game.
Yeah, he was like he's 3 for 3.
Yeah.
Actually, I have it right here. 3 for 3 for
had
41 yards.
Yeah.
Grant had one. He had a 19-yard.
Nice one.
I think it was just nice to see those guys, get a chance. I think that extra week made a difference. I'm trying to see. Well, they're not listing Kaiser is what his injury was. Like they're not saying like what.
I forget.
It's weird. They're saying ankle.
Okay. Now, somebody else I do want to give some credit to, who I don't want to say I crapped on him or anything like that. I just said he wasn't really stepping up. I said it in a personal post. I said it on the show. Kenny Gainwell with 53 all-purpose. He only had 15 yards on the ground, but he was more active in the receiving game, and they are starting to look more his way, more in the center of the field check down. But if he can create once he gets that ball. So Kenny Gainwell, nice game from you as well.
Yeah, Mike Laro right here. He says Lane Johnson versus Thibodeau. Can't wait. Yeah, it's going to be hard to replace. Not that it's not going to be hard to replace Jason Kelsey, but
Lane's playing some of his best football right now.
Yeah,
he's let up 0 sacks and pressures on Jalen Hurts.
So as I just read, Steve Quez he was limited. He has AC joint, which is your shoulder, sprain. So it just depends on if they keep the swelling down, and it's not. The thing is we can lose Quez this week or have him very limited. Like, let's be honest. Quez, he could be like gone for entire games.
Yeah.
And that's it just is what it is. Like I'm not. Doesn't break my heart, but hopefully he's okay. Like,
right, of course.
Like I said, it's not a big.
You don't want to see anyone injured.
No, but overall, that's our injury list. Compared to the Giants, as of Wednesday,
Quez or no Quez, this team is always next man up.
Mm-hmm.
And when CJ goes down, Blankenship comes in and plays very well. Kazir White goes down, Nakobe Dean comes in, plays very well. Who's going to come in and play up if Quez can't play? So there's always somebody waiting in the wings.
Kenny Galladay did return. He was sick. I know that. They said he was full participation today.
He sucks.
But they got a lot of injuries. Limited practice. Holmes, their cornerback, with his shoulder. Richie James with his knee. It's one of their fourth string wide receiver. Yeah. Nick McLeod, another cornerback with a hamstring. Their defensive lineman, Mondau. Is it Mundu? Yes, it is. I don't know how I said it right. Knee. A couple guys were on rest, but there's a guy, 2 neck injuries, and once again, offensive line and defensive, defensive line. It's like I said, it's gonna be an interesting game. I think this we'll get.
The only thing you can say is it's on the road, so it's gonna be tough.
It's on the road and it's a divisional, so I'm not expecting. I'm not gonna. Like Mike was.
Barkley's. He's having a bounce back season. You contain him. Yeah. You contain a majority of the offense.
Well, that brings me to the last portion of tonight's show. Anyway, the Eagles-Giants matchup, and I was going to ask you, can they stop 2 premier power backs in 2 weeks in a row? And my answer to you is because of the signings that Howie brought in, makes it much more. It wasn't just everybody's like, they're bringing up so they can go up against Derrick Henry. No, this is for everybody.
Right.
It's the depth.
Well, they played well against Aaron Jones too. They shut him down. This will be really 3 weeks in a row.
Fletcher Cox is a much better player already just with those guys there.
Absolutely.
He's getting time to breathe. This rotation is working well for them.
Yep.
And I think Saquon Barkley is kept under 100 rushing yards, just like Derrick Henry.
Yeah. I think he could be over 100 all-purpose. He can still catch out of the backfield, and he's very well at running and creating space. So I could see him being over 100 all-purpose, but rushing, they're gonna box him in.
Yeah. Joe, not that it's surprising to me, but the Eagles' aggressiveness, because there was complaints. I was one of the complaints in not the first few weeks, but after week 4 or 5 until about a couple of weeks ago, they were very lackadaisical in their tackling and their aggressiveness.
Yeah.
Did the aggressiveness not surprise you, but were you just really wowed about how aggressive they were against the Titans? How aggressive the play call was from the defensive coordinator, Jonathan Gannon.
Right.
How they tried some aggressive offensive play calling against them. More of it when they had the lead and they could kind of play with it.
Sure.
And not just that, but you saw how A.J. Brown trucked somebody. You saw and I don't want to see somebody get hurt, but was it Hooper? No. Who was?
I can't forget. I can't remember.
Forget Henry. I think it was. No, that was Burks. Burks is the one who got.
Treylon Burks. Yeah,
he got the touchdown.
In the end zone. Concussion protocol. Yeah.
Yeah, and by the way, wait, hold on.
Oh, it was a big hit. Oh, absolutely. Fantastic catch.
And that's what people was a dirty hit. I'm like, no, he was trying to hit him hard and knock the ball out of his hand. The guy, gravity was kicking in.
Right.
Gravity was the jackass in that one.
I still don't know why they didn't pick up that flag.
No,
it was a clean hit.
Anytime helmet to helmet,
it wasn't helmet to helmet.
He hit his helmet.
Wasn't
he? But he hit his helmet.
What was the penalty called?
I don't know if it was unsportsmanlike. I think it was unsportsmanlike,
Okay.
wasn't it? Because it was 15 yards.
I don't even remember hearing what the actual penalty was. I think I went to get a beer or something.
Yeah, it was 15 yards. So yeah.
Well, it was the score, and they were gonna. I remember coming back in the room. They're like, "Oh, with the penalty, they can go for 2 because it's that much closer to the goal line."
Yeah.
But either way, it was a clean hit. Ridiculous.
But yeah, I mean, it's the aggressiveness, and maybe that's why they were all, a little offside call because of the being aggressive thing. Like, I really think they worked on it this week, and that's why I say put some respect on this Eagles team's name.
It's about time.
It's the aggressiveness. They're not. They're an 11-1 team who aren't sitting on their laurels. I mean, I think that kind of would happen to them a little bit with the Washington game. Like, things were definitely just the wind was blowing their way.
Yeah,
things were rolling their way. Like that little luck, little lady luck was on their side a lot, and I think that well dried up a little bit against Washington. We paid for it, and ever since they've been getting more aggressive, and they're going to play hard.
Right.
Like there's no tomorrow, and I love that.
Yeah,
like, that's my point. Like you're not like I'm not going to even get into the.
They're being creative. I'll say that.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's quote unquote more aggressive, but they're being more creative because how many times? I mean, just Nakobe Dean being it. You see Nakobe Dean getting right in there and tackling. I saw a still frame of it, tackling Derrick Henry with one arm when he had his other arm being pinned down.
Yeah.
I mean, again, you talk about the tackling early in the game. Reed Blankenship out there tackling, running all over the place. These guys are just playing better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, Bradbury's not a huge guy compared to Derrick Henry.
He's going to have a big game Sunday.
Yeah, but he destroyed. He took Derrick Henry. He hit Derrick Henry. Derrick Henry went backward.
Yeah.
So, like, I don't want a score prediction. I know it's too soon, Joe. I mean, if you want to give it, go ahead. But I predict a win. Like I said, the only reason it's close is, like you said, on the road against a divisional rival.
I thought their loss was going to be against the Titans. I did. I thought it was going to be a loss.
A lot of people did.
But they really, as much of a high I was already on with this team, seeing what they did on Sunday just put so much more confidence in me about them that there's no way I see them going into MetLife and losing that game on Sunday. Is it a mistake, maybe?
I'm sorry, but at this point, the only way I see this team losing is two ways. Because everybody's waiting for a letdown.
Right.
I don't see the team that happening at this point. I think the letdown happened. That was in Washington. Or that was against
Washington. The Washington game looked like from the first couple series, looked like that was going to be a routing. I mean, the Eagles had the unfortunate turnover, and then they get the turnover right back from Washington down, in Washington territory on like the 20, and they score, and then you're looking at it like, right, they score easily, and you're sitting there like, all right, that was their one miscue of the game, and now it's time to get all of our ducks in a row, and that's just not the way that it worked out that game. To your point, I think that was the letdown game of the season.
Yeah, and my point is, I don't want to hear, well, they're going to have to lose another game. The only way they have to lose another game is if they sit players.
Dallas is going to be tough Christmas Eve.
I'm not saying it's not, but you can't convince me, right? Like, everybody goes, well, Dallas is a different team than we played. The Eagles are a different team than we played.
Right.
Yeah, no, okay, fine. You didn't have Dak. There's a big difference. I'll give you that. We have two big names in Linval Joseph and Ndamukong Suh that we didn't have.
Right.
Jalen Hurts is playing even better than he did now. All the mistakes we made.
Was Maddox playing that game?
I don't know.
That was what, week 5?
And he'll be back this week.
He'll be back this week, yeah.
We didn't even know who Reed Blankenship was at the time. Special teams is playing better. There's no reason that anybody's going to convince me at this point that we lose in Dallas outside of it being the only thing, once again, a divisional road game, which makes it a tight game.
Yeah.
Maybe the timing being Christmas Eve makes it a tight game because, a lot of these guys probably want to jump back on a plane and get home.
They might flex that to prime time too. I've been hearing some rumblings.
So here's my thing. I was like, this is going to be my little off sports topic with you with the holidays coming up, but we'll get to that in a second. But,
sure.
I think the Eagles win. I don't see them losing a game outside of, Jalen. They won. Everything's locked up, and they're just resting players. I don't see it.
I don't think you're wrong in that.
Convince me otherwise.
Right.
This team is the same. It's not.
It's almost why think otherwise until they show you something.
Exactly. Like, I don't get that. And then, like I said, here, this team is different Yes, the Cowboys team will be different than the team we saw in week
I think it was week 5.
5. But so is the Eagles team.
Right.
They made some mistakes. They learned from their mistakes. They're a better team. There's some big pieces in there. We already beat them. Like, that's my thing I don't get. That they're putting them a higher spot to win the Super Bowl than the Eagles. So you're telling me the Eagles we have wiggle room. That means we would have to literally lose against the Giants in Chicago, which is a very low chance of happening right now. To have that chance at the Christmas Eve game is a swing game.
Right.
Right? So we're the driver's seat. I don't understand. And then the Cowboys would have to, then with that being said.
Well, here's the thing. If we lost the next 2 and then we go into Christmas Eve against Dallas and Dallas wins, we have the same record. We have a tiebreaker because we beat the Packers.
Yes. Is that how that works?
It does. I don't know if it's only the Packers game that comes into play.
I thought divisional.
It comes into division, and then after that, it comes to teams you each played.
They haven't lost to anybody else in the division, have they? They might have a better divisional record
They might.
right now.
Yeah, you're right.
Because we've only played Washington twice and Dallas, so we are 2-1 in the division. They might be 3. I'm trying to think who. I would have to look.
I know. Well, the only team I know that they played so far was the Giants,
and that was Thanksgiving. They won that.
Well, no, because they lost us in a division game.
Well, that's what I'm saying. So that's 1.
Yeah.
So they might be 2-1 as well.
Right. Yeah.
Okay. So it would probably come down to that.
Yeah, because it goes to division, and then it goes to the other the other wins and losses on the record.
All right. So for our last, as we like to add a little about us into the show.
Man.
So, but is this sports related? You kind of brought it up for me. So as we know, Christmas Eve is a big thing around our family. When we grew up a half a block away from each other, we've popped into each other's Christmas parties 1,000 times. Now this year, so I'm getting flack from the family, and mainly the mother, my mother, as you would suggest. And my now one surviving grandparent is getting a lot older, and they want to do a lot of things early. They're talk about dinner at 3 or 4 or something. And of course, we get to do Christmas mass and all that stuff. But my point is, I am getting a lot of flack about this Eagles game, and me keep bringing up the fact that I want to watch this Eagles game.
Right.
And I'm going to be loud. And I got friends coming in from out of town. And everybody wants to meet up, and I'm getting a lot of flack. Are you dealing with any of this?
No. I'm actually. It's very lucky for me. This is the first Christmas Eve I've been able to do with my family in 10 years because of my old job.
Oh, that's right.
Depending on the day that it would fall on, we would have blackout days that you couldn't take PTO. So if Christmas Eve landed on one of Monday through Friday, I have to work because it wasn't considered a holiday. So so this is my first Christmas Eve that I can actually go out with the family and do stuff. And luckily, it's my wife's father's side who we're going to Christmas Eve with, and they're all sports fanatics.
Yeah.
So the dinner, everything is being planned around the Eagles game.
My family isn't that way.
Sure. I'm sure a lot of families aren't especially for Christmas. They're all right, can you just put the sports stuff on hold for a day? And I get it, but I'm lucky in this situation but I did say to my wife, I said, I hear that it could get flexed to an 8. That's what I heard. Yeah,
that's
be possible.
Perfect.
So it's possible. But so now I say to her, and she goes, "Oh, well, that just means everyone's going to want to wrap up early and get home for the game." And I'm like, "Win-win."
Well, that's what I said. My parents were talking about doing an early thing, and I'm like, and it's hard with the kids, because gotta do Christmas mass.
Yeah.
And I can't do Christmas midnight mass because I used to do that when I was younger.
Right.
I go to midnight mass, a little tipsy, but
of course.
That communion wine really goes straight to the head. But can't do that with the kids. Can't get up early and go to mass. So it's I told my mom, because my mom's a CCD teacher for church.
Okay.
For St. Eugene's over in.
I knew that. I didn't know that she was still doing it.
Yeah. So she's
awesome.
First grade.
Awesome.
So I said, Mom, you got direct line to the priest. I was like, could they maybe think about doing a noon mass
or just give the score updates throughout the service?
No, dude, no, it's bad enough. I can't curse during
True.
I mean, because I don't know what makes me curse more, if they're down or if they're up.
The one thing,
a lot of profanity.
The one thing I did start to get a little blowback on was if it is flexed, and it's a night game and we're home. I like this guy, Steve.
Steve.
Like Lex is
super
going.
night.
Me and Lex have a tradition. Christmas Eve, we'll do our final wrappings. We'll drink some Mad Elf. We'll watch Christmas Story
going right to
for
your
8
head.
times in a row. And now it's like she's like, well, if the Eagles are on, like, are we still going to do our tradition? No, no. We'll drink the Mad Elf. We'll do
So
the presents, but it'll be something else up on that TV this year.
the whole last minute wrapping thing that boggles me. I can't do that. I will be done wrapping by the end of this weekend. And what I mean, I pay my daughter to wrap my wife's presents.
I usually it's a tradition of my own. Is I usually wait until Christmas Eve to wrap my wife's presents.
Just in case you're not going to give it to her.
No. It's just because
she don't deserve this.
No, just because it's turned into my own routine. Like we do our thing, we put the stuff out for the kids, and then she'll go to bed. I'll hang out, hang out, and usually watch Christmas. That's my thing. Christmas Eve, I just watch Christmas Story over and over again, and that's just I would stay up, watch it, wrap, have some more drinks, go to bed, wake up for the stuff. So, but now, I mean, maybe I do have to wrap.
Would there be any way they flex it to Christmas?
No,
I do.
You
can't flex a different night.
I don't think so.
Because that would be perfect.
That would definitely be
because most people at Christmas Day are just done by like late afternoon.
Yeah.
So even if it's a 4:00 game, like listen, 4:00 game, guys. I'm gonna go hang out and watch my. Okay. Yeah. Remember, we went to the Eagles game 2017. We went there. It was an 8:00 game. Our wives didn't blink an eye. They're like, I'm done. Kids are gonna be in bed or playing with their toys. I'm done.
Yeah, my
guys
wife
have at it because I mean I remember when we got home. First of all, it was cold as hell.
Oh,
so the cold really, and then we were drinking, so that really tires you out. So like I got home, I was like a tree in a forest, like I just fell over, like I was just out. But yeah, like I'm getting a lot of flack about it.
I'm sure it'll work out.
Yeah, and like we're sitting there, like we're trying to cover our sports.
You get the game with any type of device at this point.
My wife's like, "You're not gonna do a post game, are you?" I'm like,
I didn't even think of that. That might be the one post game we don't do.
Yeah, sucks, but
what are you gonna do?
I'm not getting divorced over it.
Yeah,
or am I? But no, so speaking of Christmas, by the way, I'm gonna play this at the end, but we'll give a little insight. There's a local toy drive coming up, and I'm going to bring up. I'm not going to put the video on until the end, but let me bring up the graphic for us here. Sorry about the delay. I only have the video. Here we go. Sorry. So the Delco Group's toy drive,
the Sassy Massy toy drive.
Yeah, Sassy Massy, and it's at the Delco Group's office, 777 West Sproul Road, Springfield, PA. This Friday from 3 to 7. A lot of great local Delco businesses giving back to the kids. There's a lot of people out there. We talk about all the cool Christmas traditions. I know I spoil the hell out of my kids, Joe. I know you spoil the hell out of your kids.
We're doing shopping tomorrow. We're doing our tipsy shopping.
Oh yeah, I'm done.
Good.
Been done.
Nice.
I'm done in November now. Like I'm done.
I'm done. My wife, which is an absolute shocker.
Yeah. So like you can't see it's off camera right now. Yeah. So we've collected about 100 different items that we're donating. Over 100 that we're donating. And there's still a chance if you guys have something you can donate there. If you're local to us in Seacane here, Delaware County, you let us know. You can drop it off to us before Friday. We'll try to meet you here or on Friday and grab it all from you and drop it off for you. But we're going to be up there sometime in the afternoon between that 3 and 7 marker to drop off some stuff. So if you guys can help out, that'd be great. So remember, this is the time of year to help out those less fortunate than us.
Absolutely. Let's make this Christmas a very special for the people out there or the kids who need it.
So final prediction, Eagles victory, Giants pain.
Yeah.
Are you think the Giants are coming back to earth now? I mean, with the tie against Washington,
they tied Washington. I mean, I can't say much because we lost to Washington.
Yeah,
but I thought the Giants had it.
I did.
I was hoping the
I picked them to win on Thanksgiving.
Yes, yeah.
Which was a close game until the end there. It kind of fell apart. But guys, we want to thank you for joining us tonight. We want to check out eopsports.com. Follow us on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, all that stuff. TikTok, yes, we're there. Hit those subscribe buttons. If to check out all our great sponsors, starting with Sherry'sTickets.com. Guys, you don't want to do shopping? I'm an online shopper guy. I hate going to the stores normally, let alone during the holidays. Sherry'sTickets.com. Get that great sports ticket, concert tickets, theater tickets for a great price that are hard to get. No hidden fees. The price you see on the screen is the price you're going to pay. And save yourself an extra 10% off this holiday season using that great promo code EOP10 at Sherry'sTickets.com. Looking for some more Christmas festivities, the Christmas Tabernacle Choir at Dolan's 24 East Sellers Avenue in Ridley Park, December 16th with Jay Whaley. Dirty Christmas carols. I've been there. It is hilarious. Grab a beer, grab a friend, grab family members, and go out and do it. It is a good old time. Every Eagles game, great food. Getting an $8 cheesesteak anywhere is kind of hard to come by anymore.
It sure is.
The cost of meat is just ridiculous. But it is a very delicious sandwich. This is not just any old cheesesteak, trust me. Memorabilia giveaways. You never know who you're going to meet there. Also, talking about you and your Christmas shopping, go to phillysportstrips.com. A lot of these trips are done. I know, guys, but there's 1,000 other choices on there you can go. If it fits different budgets. If you can't afford a away trip, or you want to just do a bus trip, there's different ones. If you're a Sixers fan, a Flyers fan, a baseball Phillies fan, a Union fan, they got you covered, and so much more. phillysportstrips.com. And like we said, don't forget, if you can donate to the Sassy Massy Toy Drive this Friday, if you need help, let us know. We'll get it to you. I'm Big Al.
And I'm Joe Giron.
And we are out of here.
Hey everybody, Joey from Edge of Philly Sports here. I just want to take a minute and let you all in on a very special thing that is happening coming up on December 9th. It's annual. It's something that is very special to all of us at the EOP network. And this year we're getting involved. We're helping donate. We're collecting toys, but that's outside of everything. It is December 9th, 3 p.m. to 7 p.m. at 777 Sproul Road in Springfield, PA. It is the Sassy Massy Toy Drive. And of course, it's being presented by the Delco Group. Now, you know where it is. It's right next to the Staples, the Giants right there. And let's not act like you don't all know where the Springfield Ale House is. So come on by, drop off some toys, have a drink, some food, bring the kids. Santa's going to be there, reindeer, bouncy house. It is the whole, what they do for this thing is just top notch. And they bring it every year. And this year we're asking all of you to bring it as well. This is the Sassy Massy Toy Drive presented by the Delco Group. They do a bang-up job. And they hand-deliver all the toys to the local hospitals. So you don't have to worry about any funny business. Because, we don't like funny business here. So, again, December 9th, that is a Friday, 3 p.m. to 7 p.m. at 777 Sproul Road, the Delco Group offices, Springfield Ale House, Giant, Staples. You know what's there. Everybody